Let's pretend for a moment that the Recluse never existed. If that were the case, when it comes to aggressive sniping, you might see a different loadout other than a sniper last word or a sniper recluse. You would see actually a lot of different weapon combinations. You might even see double primary, somebody using a bow and a sidearm, or even a pulse rifle and a sidearm. Even your day-to-day sidearm versus sidearm or sidearm versus submachine gun engagements would be more interesting because the person who lands the most headshots is probably going to win. Unfortunately though, this is just not the world we currently live in Destiny PvP. The Recluse pretty much makes every other close range choice irrelevant. So if you're clicking on this video to let me know that the Recluse is better, well, you're right. But I want to use other weapons. I want to have a little bit of fun using an exotic that you never see, the Mechaneer's Trick Sleeves. In a world where Recluse is nerfed or never existed, I could see Mechaneer's Trick Sleeves and a variety of sidearms having a lot of use in the Crucible, especially for using a bow or aggressively sniping. You could even say that that current Mountaintop Recluse combo is just as good, if not better. If you paid attention on screen at the introduction of this video, I went over the perks of my weapons. My sniper, of course, has snapshot, and my dead man walking, that's the sidearm I'm using, has kill clip. Well, a fun fact about Mechaneer's Trick Sleeves is that if you are critically wounded and switch to your sidearm, you get a damage boost equivalent to kill clip, and yes, these stack. But you have to learn to proc both the perks at the same time. So if you get a kill, you have to switch back to your snipe, then back to your sidearm, then start the reload, and you pick up kill clip. We'll go through it step by step. I pick up my kill, I realize that I have my sidearm out, so I'm switching back to my sniper rifle. Even though I already reloaded, it's not a big deal. Gonna switch back to my snipe, switch back to the sidearm, hold the trigger down so it shoots, and then instantly reload. And in that time frame, I've already reprocced kill clip and trick sleeves exist. So if somebody comes around the corner, they are going to get deleted. Here's a good background example of me putting the Lord of Wolves back in its kennel. As you can tell, the close range lethality of a sidearm plus the quick draw and damage boost of Mechaneer's Trick Sleeves is a match made in heaven. Assuming Recluse is very high up on the list of things to get nerfed, I would say it's worth picking up a sidearm with Mechaneer's Trick Sleeves and learning to double proc Trick Sleeves plus kill clip, or use it in combination with subclasses and that sort of thing. One I could think of off the top of my head is the Gambit Lonesome Curated Sidearm. That one has the perk Swashbuckler plus the top tree Way of the Warrior on the Arc Strider. So if you combo this with Mechaneer's Trick Sleeves while dodging around and punching people, chances are you're going to have both Swashbuckler and Trick Sleeves up while regaining your health back. That's about all I have to say on this loadout. As usual, any loadout of mine paired with the sniper rifle is going to shine more than the primary weapon. It makes sense because the snipe is a one-hit kill at any distance, the aim assist is really high, and I don't think the flinch factor is as high as people make it out to be. This is probably a good point in the video for me to talk about any potential Recluse nerfs and how Bungie could adjust it moving forward to lead to more skillful, fair engagements in the Crucible. Before anybody flames me in the comment section for ruining the idea of power fantasy, to me, that's not power fantasy. The weapon is so blatantly low risk, extremely high reward that anybody who wants to win the match, and that's most people I encounter for some reason, they will use Recluse or Last Word every single match. And of course, with the combo of One-Eyed Mask or Way of the Wraith, you can wipe entire teams without necessarily having the understanding of what's actually going on around you or positioning so you're not as low health, so that the overshield and damage boost from One-Eyed Mask as well as the GPS coordinates don't have to win the gunfight for you. In other words, in this case, the easiest options are actually the most powerful. So regardless of if you're the worst player in the game or the best player in the game, if the object is to win the match, these are the only things that you are going to see. When you combine weapons that are this easy to use with such high reward with training wheel, exotic, and subclasses, the depth of counter options and outplay potential just is not there. As a result, this makes PvP become extremely stale extremely quickly because there's almost no incentive to improve to win because you can get by with just holding W, running forward, picking out the weakest person in the crowd, hoping that they have fast enough reaction speed to hit them so you can one-hit kill them, proc Recluse, now you have an overshield damage boost, and you tear up any player better than you just because of the circumstances. Yeah, gets old really quick. So back on topic, if I were to nerf the Recluse, I would say first things first, it cannot reproc off of itself. So if I have the Recluse out and I get a kill, no more Master of Arms. But if I were to pick up that kill with a sniper rifle, which shouldn't be that hard to do, or a mountaintop, which should be even easier to do, even an ace of spades, even a pulse rifle, pick up a kill with any weapon other than the Recluse, and you proc Master of Arms. But I would also say adjust Master of Arms so that it only works on headshot damage. So what does this mean? Why would you still use this Recluse over another submachine gun? In my opinion, it's because it offers a very, very clear advantage, which is you get kill clip damage without actually reloading while having your more powerful special weapon out. So if I get a snipe headshot, switch to the Recluse, and hit headshots on my opponent, it's like nothing ever changed. So the main difference would be, you know those clips where somebody procs One-Eyed Mask with Recluse at the same time and then proceeds to get a 7th column with just Recluse because everybody's running at him like thralls? Well, that same clip could happen if he just switched from Recluse to the sniper rifle in between every kill, making it so that he had to have special ammo to continue the carnage with Recluse. It gives it a clear disadvantage and it creates a skill gap so that one Recluse user is very obviously better than another. I'd also say forget Feeding Frenzy, turn it into Outlaw, make it so you have to get headshots to get that rapid reload so that you're forced to use reload perks or to sit on a very slow reload. Before anybody complains about these proposed changes ruining PvE, I'd like to let you know that the raids aren't even that difficult right now and you can have just as much success using Risk Runner or Teraba with a combination of grenade launchers and tractor cannon to wipe any boss, any challenge in the game with almost no effort whatsoever. If I sound a little bitter in this, dead man video or whatever, it's because it's sort of been eating away at me, guys. I remember way back before the Forsaken, the week before the Forsaken, when we got the special weapon changes, I was like, dang, Bungie nailed it. This special weapon system is awesome. But then things started getting way out of hand. You started seeing One-Eyed Mask, you started seeing Way of the Wraith, you started seeing mod slots on these special weapons, you started seeing power creeped versions of all these special weapons and primaries that made the game so much easier. And not only easier, they added a degree of randomness that led to you sometimes losing gunfights that you otherwise should have won. I would have complained about this a lot more in the past had a certain weapon not existed that seemed to bring a balance to the force. Pretty much every quality of a good player was magnified with the Not Forgotten hand cannon. If you were accurate, if you had good trigger discipline, good positioning, and good aerial movement, you could dominate with the Not Forgotten. If you give any noob, any average player a Not Forgotten and have them go against a better player, they will lose majority of the time. The only exception being if it's a team fight and they happen to proc the perk beforehand, but I think that even a stronger player can take more advantage of that just because of trigger discipline alone. Did I think it needed a nerf? Absolutely. Did I think it needed to be nerfed in the way that it actually was? No, I don't. I think it should have been nerfed so that it made it so that headshots matter more. Make it so that there's no way you can possibly kill somebody with a headshot body shot combination. Headshots only. After that nerf, if the gun still seems to be too prevalent, then just change the stat package or perks around just a little bit on the gun so that it's less favorable to people that don't consistently hit their shots every single time. And then, only then, after the aforementioned things, do you change the RPM and turn it into a garbage can that isn't even worth using over another 150 for players that took full advantage of the skill set required previously. So now that I've said this, it might make a little bit more sense now when I say that Not Forgotten was the Avatar. It was Avatar: The Last Airbender, man. It really did bring back harmony to all the nations. But unfortunately, it got struck by lightning before learning how to redirect it. In all seriousness, I was totally okay with a weapon strength like the last word. It could kill in 4 body shots, and that didn't take a lot of effort to do. Of course, it could kill lightning quick in 3 headshots, but I just wouldn't die to that too often that was a problem. At a certain skill threshold, the Not Forgotten was better than the last word, with that little asterisk there, if you can hit your shots. On the same token, Ace of Spades was quite the menace on PC, but not for the reasons you think. Yes, the stat package and the backpacking of kill clip was very annoying, but the most annoying aspect of Ace of Spades was the high caliber rounds. But even despite that, the Not Forgotten was still preferred among a lot of top players, simply because if you're hitting your shots, you will outshoot an Ace of Spades almost every single time within range. And within range is actually most maps. People would bust out Ace of Spades for longer range maps where they still wanted that aggressive hand cannon shotgun playstyle. So if you're following me so far, it's evident that the Not Forgotten is a more skill-intensive but higher reward weapon than the last word or the Ace of Spades, which were both top tier in their own respects. So this is why I say, when you take Not Forgotten out of that equation, the game turns into a mess. The Recluse runs rampant, the last word kills in 4 body shots, and Ace of Spades still flinches you to the ceiling. Imagine how much better PvP would play if Not Forgotten had those proposed changes I talked about, Recluse had those proposed changes I talked about, if the last word didn't kill in 4 body shots, if Ace of Spades didn't have high caliber rounds, and if primaries overall didn't have as much or no flinch factor. Imagine if the wall hacks ability didn't show you the pinpoint GPS location. Imagine if they pulsated. Imagine if they had a radius. Imagine if the radar wasn't the size of half of every map. Imagine if supers weren't fast-charging, desynced, fast-moving, seemingly indestructible, everlasting tanks. That drop orbs, by the way. Imagine if snipers didn't have some sort of industrial neodymium magnet inside of it, as well as some anti-shock mount on the scope that prevents all flinch. And of course it leads to more flashlights in the back of the map than my house during a hurricane, but I digress. Imagine having these small but obvious annoyances tweaked more than once in a season. I'm not pointing all this stuff out to be a jerk. I'm pointing this out so we can all learn from it and so that the game moves into a better, more enjoyable state. I want the game to be at a state where I look forward to playing every day, not where I want to quit after 30 minutes, because there's no variety in strategy or execution, because the skill gap is so compressed. It's not fun. I'm really hoping that in Shadowkeep, some of the things I mentioned are addressed, as well as in subsequent expansions, continuing to push the game at a point at which the player feels they have an impact on the match. And of course, it's ultimately Bungie's decision. If they wanted to drop PvP tomorrow, I can complain all I want, but I cannot change that. I have to accept that. And so Destiny without PvP to me is an adequate PvE game. It's kind of like Borderlands to me. I'm going to play through the campaign, I'm going to at least defeat all the content, and I'm going to stop there. I'm not going to farm for anything excessive if it doesn't immediately make my gameplay experience better. So I'd reckon I'd get about 200 hours of playtime as a dedicated PvE player, but as a PvP player, try 5,000. Try even more than that I had in Destiny 1, let alone Destiny 2. So again, if Destiny loses PvP, I just have to accept that, and I will play all the PvE content that I enjoy, and then move on to the next game, one that I might ultimately enjoy more in PvP purely, or PvE purely. What makes Destiny special is that it does both, and it does both pretty adequately. But unfortunately, in the last couple seasons, PvP has not been adequate. And so this has been my 2 cents on that, and I hope any of the feedback I've said so far is taken seriously and not brushed aside just because it sounds like I'm a PvP kid complaining because I can't do good anymore, when it's like I can do good, it's just super aggravating to do so. It's not fun. I'll add that nobody in the comment section should jump to the conclusion that I'm burned out on the game. If I enjoy something, I can do it all day, every day. It's just I try to fit Destiny into my life in a manner that balances out correct, you know, gotta get the breakfast, gotta get the gym, gotta get the right amount of hours of sleep, and so on. And then any extra time, I play my job of Destiny, making content for you guys, and then I play at my leisure because I still enjoy the game. I think this is a good point to close the video, so remember, be respectful in the comment section. Remember that this is a very opinion-based video, and that I respect yours. You should respect mine. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.